We're seeing a lot of growth at Todd County Elementary in children's feelings of positive community, of the whole school at their monthly morning meetings, doing activities together, singing, greeting each other, learning those social skills of friendliness, and looking at each other, using kind words with each other, using socially appropriate skills of relating to each other, and they're practicing them at their whole school morning meeting. We also have seen a lot of growth at Todd County Elementary in teachers' ability to manage and teachers' ability to blend cultural relevance with a well-managed classroom. So classroom rules that are related to the Lakota values, hopes and goals for the year that are related to the Lakota values, so that children have that feeling that school is related to home, home is related to school. We're all working together to have a positive experience in school. And also, we've seen a lot of growth at Todd County Elementary in attention to children's developmental needs. I was out at a school today where the second graders are today working with the third and fourth graders so that they can begin to get a sense of what it's going to be like when they move up in the fall, where the fourth graders are working with the fifth, sixth, and seventh graders, so they're getting that sense of what it's going to be like to move up. So we're at a farther along place with Todd County Elementary because we started there more than 2 years ago. But we're going down the same road with the other schools that didn't start the year that Todd County Elementary did. Is this all making sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I do. Yeah.
So, as I said, school in Todd County Elementary, and I saw it in every other school when I was out visiting all the other schools this week, that schools are using some of those school-wide practices that are responsive classroom practices, but the responsive classroom practice is sort of like the template, and they're fitting in Lakota values, traditional Lakota practices, in order to help support children's culture and make children feel safe in school. I think this is all accurate, people from, I mean, there are a couple of people from Todd County Elementary who can say stop, stop if you think I'm inaccurate. So in responsive classroom, so we've got the 4 domains, the skill set that we teach teachers. Then we have 10 core teaching practices that we use with children. So in responsive classroom, the morning starts every day with a morning meeting where students learn to greet each other in a friendly way. Children learn to share about their lives articulately. So they're learning speaking skills and listening skills. They're responsible for knowing what others shared, so they're practicing listening skills. They do a fun activity, also often academically connected, so that they're practicing academics and also having a lot of joy. For middle school students, we have responsive classroom advisory, which is tuned to match middle school students' developmental needs and has many of the characteristics of morning meeting, but is more grown up. And I know that Sandra and Deb went through a responsive classroom course this summer and learned a lot about the middle school approach, probably more than I know. Although we also create rules with children. That's part of our effective management and our positive community, so that children work together to create rules that they believe in and that will make children all safe together. We model expected behaviors, so students know exactly what the expected behavior looks like and sounds like. We teach positive educator language to our to the teachers so that they can create that positive but still firm and with high expectations atmosphere in their classrooms. We respond to misbehavior quickly and firmly with logical consequences. One of the things about my visit to all of the elementary schools in the last 3 days is I didn't see any misbehaviors. Children were focused and working on their schoolwork. We, in order to build academic engagement, we give children choices academically. We also work with students' families. We work together with students about behavior problems, and we teach children how to use materials appropriately. So what I'd really like to focus on is the research on responsive classroom, because I think that's what answers Melissa's question, what kind of value are we getting? In 1993 through 98, there were some observational studies done in responsive classrooms led by Dr. Stephen Elliott, who is now, I believe, at the University of Michigan. What he found was that he compared children in responsive classrooms to children not in responsive classrooms, and this one is not on the handout. And what he found was that children in responsive classrooms were cooperative, assertive in a positive way, responsible, empathetic, and showed more self-control than children not in responsive classrooms. In 2001, we teamed up with a researcher from the Curry School of Education at the University of Virginia. And we did a study she did a study with her graduate students where she compared responsive classroom schools to schools that were not responsive classroom. It wasn't the highest level of research because they had chosen to be a responsive classroom school. Based on the results of that study, which I'm going to tell you about in a minute, in 2008, she got a federal grant from the Federal Department of Education to do the highest level of research in a very large school district, one of the largest ones in the country, in the mid-Atlantic states. So her first study, the one where the schools had chosen to be responsive classroom schools, what they found was there were changes the first year, there were more changes the second year, and by the third year there were very significant changes. And I'd like to emphasize this because what we found is that responsive classroom is not the easiest approach to implement, and it takes time. And the first year, teachers are just getting their feet wet. By the second year, they're getting pretty good at it. By the third year, they really become quite competent at using our strategies. So in all of the research studies that have been done of responsive classroom, it's the third year when really the significant differences emerge. And I think this is something for you as a board to really think about, because you have a lot of attrition. So you've paid for teachers to be trained who've gone other places now.
Yep.
And it's really those folks who've stayed around for the third year where you're starting to get some traction for your money. And this is true not just with responsive classroom, but it's true with teaching in America generally. That those first and second year teachers don't have the skill set that those third and on teachers have. So, I can't solve the attrition problem, but I think it is something to think about, the relationship between putting money into training and people staying or leaving. So what they found in the first study, the one that was not the highest level of research, but was, compared schools, the children had higher test scores on the state tests, growing the first year a little bit higher, the second year a little bit higher still. And by the third year, there were quite significant changes in test scores. Also, by the third year, teachers were comfortable using more efficacious teaching practices because they had gotten more comfortable with management in their classroom. They had built a community in their classroom where children treated each other kindly. So then they could try out some teaching practices that maybe they weren't comfortable trying out before. Children had better social skills. Children reported having more friends. Teachers were happier coming to school. Teachers implemented higher quality instruction. There were fewer behavior problems, and teachers collaborated more. So that was the first really significant study of responsive classroom. Then, based on that study, Dr. Sarah Rim-Kaufman got funds and a grant from the Department of Education to compare randomly chosen schools, some that were going to use responsive classroom, some that weren't. Well, so here's what happened. We put a lot of energy into training courses with teachers who were in the study, into coaching teachers who were in the study. And honestly, it didn't come out the way that we hoped. So Dr. Sarah Rim-Kaufman resorted the data because her graduate students said, look, you know, we're comparing growth based on whether or not they've taken our courses. But we're not looking at whether or not they've used our strategies. And so they resorted, because they've been observing in classrooms all along very carefully, they resorted to look at teachers who use our strategies, teachers who don't use our strategies, administrators who are knowledgeable about our strategies and support them, administrators who aren't knowledgeable about our strategies and don't really support them. And it sounds so obvious, but what we learned is you can take our courses, but if you go back to school and teach exactly the way you always did, there isn't going to be any change. And if you take our courses, go back to school and use those strategies, there are significant changes. In fact, what they found when they resorted the data, the teachers who were using our strategies and were supported by their administrators, two key things. Not only had higher math scores, because it was a study about math, but the greatest improvement came from the lowest achieving students. So it was the students who had struggled and struggled and struggled with math who really improved dramatically when their teachers started using our strategies. And those results held across income levels. So it didn't matter whether you came to school without breakfast or not. And of course, they had a breakfast program. It didn't matter if you weren't getting food at home on the weekends or not. That it was, you know, the low-income children were improving as much as the children who had every advantage at home. So that study was pretty significant for us. And even though the actual, you know, we can really only say that there was a high correlation between teacher practices and student achievement, because it wasn't what the study was about, but it's what we discovered in the study. So the last study that I would like to mention is that Columbia University has a center for looking at how certain factors in children's lives affect their adult income. And they took a group of social and emotional learning programs. They picked out 6 that they thought were the most significant ones. Significant because they're used very widely, significant because they have a strong reputation in the field. And they looked at and responsive classroom was one of them. and they looked at what it costs to have a responsive classroom training, and based on increased math skills, reading skills, social skills, what a person's income will be, what additional income a person would make in their life. So what they found is that the average cost per student for 3 years of responsive classroom training for their teacher comes out to $900. And the average, looking nationally at how people who are, good at math, good at reading, have good social skills, the average increase in income is $8,900. So it's a 9-to-1 payback. Now, I have no idea. I know that your board goals are for your students to be successful if they choose reservation life, or to be successful if they choose another life. And I'm not sure that income increase is exactly what you're looking for, but I think it's a pretty interesting study. And that's what the handout is about. So you can find references to our research at responsiveclassroom.org. If you go to About Responsive Classroom, you can, and if you put in research, there are lots of articles about our research. There's a lot of information about it. And if you want an even less biased take on the research that's been done on responsive classroom, you can go to the University of Virginia Curry School of Education. Because we have some investment in saying the research shows that this is a really good thing.
Yeah.
But the Curry School of Education has no investment in the research shows that responsive classroom is a really good thing. So you might want to go to the University of Virginia website too. All right, do you have any questions for me?
No, I just asked Mr. S. and my group, Dr. Whitney, if we had people going out this summer for training, because some of the board might go to that.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
They have lots of trainings all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be in Denver. It's not very, it's only a 7-hour drive.
No, woohoo, Denver.
I like that. There are trainings in much more glamorous places. I know 2 people who went to New York City for training last summer.
Yeah.
Right.
San Francisco, there's training.
Yeah, hey, Los Angeles.
Thank you for taking time though and coming.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And giving a presentation to us.
As you know, I think this is
Yeah,
important for your children.
thank you.
Thank you.
Lucy, Destination Imagination, we're going to go back to you.
Yeah, thank you. We had DI tonight and we were a little bit late.
Oh, that's fine.
So, as you can see, it's up. So we had a DI regional tournament. Usually it's during March every year. And we had anywhere from like 3 or 4 teams up to as many as like almost 20 teams go. This year we had 3 teams go from Roseville Elementary and 2 teams go from the middle school. We have first place at the elementary school, Roseville, and 2 second places at the middle school. So those kids are now eligible to go on to the state tournament, which is on the 25th in Pierre. And although I've been unable to find a single room in Pierre for that Friday night, they may come open, and we were asking for an overnight. We haven't had an overnight going up there for quite a while, but this group of kids is, I don't know whether more easily managed. They're a little bit more responsible, a little bit less flighty than some of the other kids that have been before. So we were asking for an overnight to go if I can find a hotel.
I've already approved because I can
Oh,
in
yes.
state. I've already approved that, Lucy.
Oh, okay.
To go.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's what it
because
was.
it's in-state.
Anyway, we have 3 trophies, which
Oh,
will
cool.
go to the schools, and the kids really had a good time.
Great.
We had extreme difficulties with snow days. Not being able to have DI because almost all the kids have to ride an after-school bus, and there weren't any. So they kind of just, dug in and finished it, and did very, very well. So one of our middle school teams, they had to build structures, and they were the only team in the state that actually took the risk of getting the bonus points by building very small, these were about 1 inch in diameter, structures to be tested on this testing machine, and they had the highest score in the state for their, because of the bonus points. And then the elementary team, oh gosh, they were grabbing these 50-pound weights and just throwing them on there to see if it would hold, and it held 100 pounds. And they really did very, very well. They got the highest score actually in our region for their structures. So, they had a lot of fun.
Thank you, Lucy, for
Thank
your
you.
demonstration of imagination in our high school.
We didn't have any achievement school kids. Did the achievement school staff know what they were coming for? Do you want to speak for us?
Yeah, well, with our little surprise really out, it seemed like we had them all scatter away really quickly. But we actually, on behalf of the Achievement School, they wanted to say thank you. Thank you for supporting our trip we're taking this Saturday. We've had numerous supports from parents, our own students and staff, and board members who have come and helped out with our coffee shop. So we really appreciate that. We appreciate your business. Talking about it really helps. People who brought in treats. We really appreciate also just stopping by the school when you guys get a chance, or mentioning the school. We really like that. It really fires up the students to see guests come in. But the real thank you also is our transportation. We're really thankful for that. All the students had signed it. I'm going to go ahead and pass it around or let you guys have it.
Yeah.
And we wrote a little note, and all the students who were there, and we were there this last 2 days, we're really happy for the transportation situation, and thankful that we look out for their safety too. So I'm going to bring this over.
Well, well, you can tell them I've got Easter treats already planned for their coffee house.
As Mr. Laundrie said,
So they will be seeing me again.
yeah, the students really respond a lot to how much you guys care about them, and it's showing on how much they're valuing school and just how much you value them. So definitely thank you.
I've enjoyed coming and visiting your school and your kids and checking on some of them that are dear to my heart.
One of my favorite places.
We're going to move on to pay bills. Is there a motion? Moved by Gina. Second by Sandra. Questions?
None.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Financial report.
I'll move.
Moved by Travis.
Second.
Second by Gina. Questions?
No.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 6.5. This is just a correction because our policy didn't match agreement. In policy, we had 15, it's a 15-30 day one, so this is to correct it.
Second.
Moved by Gina, second by Deb. Questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Approved math curriculum.
Move.
Moved by Deb,
Second.
second by Sandra. Questions? All those in favor? Yes. Approved consulting contract. Moved by Gina,
Second.
second by Deb. Questions?
I looked at this. What
Specifically are they doing?
They're learning mindfulness, all of the staff and all of the students, and it's a big stress reliever. So when kids get angry and upset, and they're teaching them techniques for meditation, to be quiet, and how to de-stress. I think we should all do it.
Okay, that works.
I want to go get trained too.
All in favor?
You too?
Yes.
Yes.
We need that.
I can go.
Yes.
8.1, create new professional degree positions.
Move.
Moved by Travis,
Second.
second by Deb. Questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 5-0. 8.2, certified resignations and retirements. Moved by Travis. Second by Sandra. Questions?
None.
I would just like to say that some of these people on this list have been in the school district for a lot of years, so we need to do something special on staff recognition. There's a lot of years between these people. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 8.3 is going into executive session. 8.4. Moved by Gina. Second by Sandra. Questions?
None.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 5-0. Professional degree contract enters.
Move.
Moved by Deb.
Second.
Second by Sandra. Questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 5-0. Certified salary adjustment.
Move.
Moved by Travis, second by Deb. Questions?
None.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 8.7. Moved by Sandra,
Second.
second by Deb. Questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 8.8 was deleted. 8.9.
Move.
Moved by Deb,
Second.
second by Sandra. Questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 8.10. Moved by Travis. Tina. Questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Meetings, we have, mark your calendars. On the 20th at 5.
Oh.
On the 20th at 5. The board that's available, we'll be meeting with Chad for budget special. On the 22nd, for those on the negotiating teams at 4 o'clock. On the 28th, we have 2 student hearings. If you're available at noon, is a PTA meeting. Those are really neat. If you have a chance, come to those. You'd be the parent.
28th, yeah. Did I send that email out?
No, you didn't. I
I
just
need to
wrote
send
it
that.
down, so get that sent out to our parents.
28th, yeah.
And that's open to everybody. That's community, that's parents. We are trying to form a PTA organization in Tuck County. And Chad has been doing some work in DC, and we have national PTA organizations for us, and they're helping us get this set up in Tuck County. And then our regular board meeting here in the Curriculum Center on the 30th.
Monday's the 20th. It is at the curriculum center.
Yes, it is at the Curriculum Center.
I wrote down high school.
And
Rocky
it's
comes on the 22nd.
It was.
Oh.
Did the board have anything? Debbie Jo, did you have anything?
All that, Council for coming and presenting to us finally. That was,
It was a pleasure.
thank you. And thank all the rest of you for coming.
Travis, did you have anything?
I don't. Just thank you, everybody.
Sandra? I just want to thank Kelta for coming. It took a long time to get this date set up, but thank you, and I look forward to finding more out about responsive classroom. And thank everybody for coming, and we're at the marathon. We're at the end of the stretch. It's getting towards the end of the school year, so everybody's busy and has lots to do. So just always keep in mind that we're here for our students, and that should always be our focus and our priority. With that, I need a motion to go into executive session for personnel. Moved by Sandra, second by Gina. Questions? All those in favor? Yes.
What time did you come?
So 4:30.
We will do 6:15.